bookworms, it's Evelyn Grace Berry. I'm here today to let you know about my newest book, Chapters and Second Chances, which is releasing tomorrow, November 1st. This is a collection of 9 short stories, all set in Maine, as most of my stories are to this point. They are set in familiar places like Haven. In fact, the Three Cats Cafe plays a very important part in 2 of the stories, so I'm very excited for you to read those. I had so much fun writing these. I laughed literally out loud a few times. I had fun putting my characters into very quick perils that they had to get out of because these are short stories. All of them can be read very quickly, very easily. If you've explored my YouTube channel at all, you may have seen some of these titles, like Table for One and Pickles 2, or Gate 22B, which has actually been renamed Gate 9 because I set it at the Portland Jetport, and the Portland Jetport is very small. It's here in Portland, Maine, and there are only, I think, 10 or 15 gates. There's not very many. In fact, I recently just flew to Charlotte, North Carolina out of the Portland Jetport from Gate 10. I was very close. They changed it at the last minute. But every story is different. They're fun, they're sweet, kisses only, like I always write. So what I want to do right now is I actually want to read you an excerpt from The Muffin Wars, the first story in this collection. This story is about Tessa, the owner of the Sweet Mercy Bakery, and Oliver, the health inspector who decides he likes a little sass in his life. Here's their original meeting. The smell of maple and toasted walnuts filled Sweet Mercy Bakery, wrapping around her like a promise the day would start sweet. Tessa Larkin stood back and admired the trays cooling on the counter, the glossy tops of her signature muffins catching the morning light. Perfect, golden, maybe even worthy of a Coastal Maine Eats feature, if she ever remembered to send photos. Besides the muffins, a tray of blueberry lemon scones cooled on a rack, their sugar crust catching the light like stained glass windows. A batch of chocolate croissants puffed in the oven, their golden layers rising with the heat. Sweet Mercy wasn't fancy, with a few cafe tables by the window, a chalkboard menu written in cheerful loops, and a pastry case full of comfort people didn't know they needed until they stepped inside. She was wiping down the counter when the bell above the door jingled. Her heart did its usual hopeful flutter. Every jingle of the bell felt like a small blessing. Proof Sweet Mercy was still a part of people's mornings. But instead of a smiling customer, a man in a crisp navy shirt and expressionless face stepped in, clipboard tucked under one arm. "Good morning," he said, flashing an ID badge. "Oliver Carter, County Health Department." Tessa froze, cloth mid-swipe. "Oh, well, bless my buttercream." Of all days, she forced a smile. "Inspection day. Lucky me." Why did a health inspector need shoulders like that? They belonged in a magazine ad, not behind a clipboard. Oliver's tone was polite but clinical. "Routine check. Shouldn't take long." He surveyed the space with unsettling precision, the counters, the sink, and the case of pastries. Every glance felt like a pop quiz she hadn't studied for. He made a note on his clipboard, then looked up. "You're not wearing gloves." "I washed my hands." She held them up, still damp. "See? Clean as a Sunday sermon." His pen didn't pause. Section 2, paragraph 4. Gloves are required when handling ready-to-eat food. Tessa folded her arms. "Am I handling food?" She lifted the cloth. "If you wanted something from the case, then yes, I'd obviously glove up." She raised an eyebrow at him. His brow lifted in return, but he said nothing, just made another note on his clipboard. "Sorry, Lord, help me dial back the snark. Thanks." She pasted another smile on her face, pushing away how she'd like to show this man the door. No matter how handsome he might be, his jawline was sharp enough to cut through biscotti. The man had zero humor, or maybe it was buried under layers of policy and starch. "I need a double dose of whatever help you can offer, Lord. It's going to be a long morning." Tessa threw the prayer toward heaven, hoping the good Lord would come through, and then followed the man to the kitchen. He walked toward the prep table, scanning every surface before turning his eyes back to her and giving her the same treatment. "Hair covering?" She blinked. "I've got my hair in a bun." "That's not a covering." Another tick on the clipboard. "And you?" she shot back. "No hairnet?" He glanced up from his clipboard. "I'm bald." "Well, that's one way to stay compliant," she said, tilting her head. less maintenance too. I'm going to leave you there. And I really hope that tomorrow on November 1st, you pick up chapters and second chances, and then you can see how that story ends. I want to thank you for all your support over the years. It's been very good, and I very much appreciate all of you, my readers.